beautiful souls. How are we? Excited to hop on here today. I wanted to chat with you girls about taking a fear inventory. I feel like this is just something that a lot of women and a lot of us that just really want to be in our purpose work or do work that really lights us up, we often can get in our own way. So I'm going to dive a little bit into taking a fair inventory and just really asking yourself these questions because, you know, we are our worst critic and we often hold our own self back from going after the things that we want. So whenever we're on this path of getting clear on what our desires are, we want to really get honest with ourselves, you know, asking ourselves these questions like, what are the fears that we have deep within that are holding us back from showing up? And when we can really ask ourselves these questions and really dig deep, right? Because often there's this underlying layer of this fear or some stories that are keeping us from doing the things that we want, right? And we have to take some time to ask ourselves and to check in. Hello, guys. Hi, Casey. Hi, gosh, I don't know what I can't read your tag name. I'm so sorry, guys. Tell me if you're here. Tell me who's here. So I'm like horrible with like the Instagram tag names. Sometimes I can never know who's here. So say hello, hello, hello. So I feel like, you know, when we're able to get honest with ourselves as far as like, what are the fears that we have? We're able to really release these beliefs and these stories, right? When we stay stuck in that energy of not knowing what our fears are, the thing is, it's not that we don't know what the fears are, is that we subconsciously hold these fears within our mind, and we are on this repeat of like doing the same thing, and we're on autopilot, right? So we don't often know what those fears are sometimes when we don't take that time to get really clear. Hi, Amy. And so when we create that time to get clear on what those subconscious beliefs are, we're able to kind of see, oh, okay, this is the thing that's keeping me from showing up, right? Versus like just feeling like you think you know what it is, but you don't really know what it is. Does that make sense? So we have to ask ourselves these questions and take a moment to maybe even just journal on what are the things that are holding us back, right? What are the fears that are keeping us from showing up? And if we didn't have those fears, right, what would our outcome be? Like, who would we be and how would we be showing up, right? Because our fears are the things that really keep us from living a life of vitality, of living a life of joy, of living a life of fulfillment, right? So when we're able to take that fear inventory and see what our fears are, we can start creating actions and steps towards our desires, right? We all have different fears. We all have different things that show up for us every day. And it's just being self-aware and just checking in with ourselves and being willing to ask for support to move these fears, right? Because these fears are really keeping us from being our authentic self. They're keeping us from showing up. So let me give you an example. For me, one of my fears I want to share with you is, you know, the fear of, you know, me putting myself out there and me creating offers or doing things and just not being seen or heard, right? And the truth is, right, it doesn't really matter, right, in the sense what other people think. It doesn't matter what, you know, if I'm speaking to one person, right, because I know ultimately that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right, the work that I'm feeling guided to do. So there's always going to be stories and beliefs and fears that come up, but really those fears are not the truth, right? If we were to ask ourselves, is this the truth? Is this the ultimate truth, right? These fears that we have. So checking in with ourselves is really key to moving past these fears, right? And really asking us ourselves these questions that really align with our highest self, right? What are your beliefs around how you show up? What are your beliefs around releasing these fears, right? And sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's like, we have to sit in these fears. We have to allow ourselves to be with the fears so that we can move past the fears. And if we don't allow ourselves to sit with the fear, how can we empower ourselves to see what's on the other side of that fear, right? So if this is making sense, please send me hearts or tell me if this is resonating with you guys. So I wanted to share this with you today because I know that once we get past our fears, there is so much beauty on the other side, right? There's so much joy, there's so much liberation, especially depending on what it is that you're wanting to experience in life, right? If you were to release these fears, what would there be for you? What would be on the other side of that? So I want you to think about that today. If you didn't have these fears, right? And we're always going to have different things that we're feeling challenged with, things that are going to really be out of our comfort zone, things that are going to make us feel like we're not enough or worthy enough, right? But we get to lean into these things and know that this is an opportunity for us to expand, for us to step out of our comfort zone, and for us to really do work that feels empowering, for yourself and your own life. So I'm just curious, like, take a moment today and ask yourself, what are the fears that I'm experiencing in my life today? What are the things that I feel are keeping me from moving forward, right? And if you were to look at yourself in the eye and just say, I see you, fear, right? I know that you're there, and allow yourself to feel those fears. And then once we identify those fears, we can transmute that fear to love. We can transmute that fear to peace. We can transmute that fear to purpose, right? So it just starts with that awareness, with that gentle awareness, and creating that intention for yourself. Like, I choose to see things differently. I choose to see things with love. And then trusting for that support and that guidance from God, source, the universe, from something higher than you. We can lean into that support. We can lean into that shift of that energy and that perspective. Because when we limit ourselves and stay in that fear, right, we cripple ourselves from showing up. We cripple ourselves from expanding, from living in whatever it is that you desire, right? What's on that other side of that fear. So I just wanted to share that with you today because I know that we all have these things that really keep us from showing up, and you deserve to have the love, the joy, the abundance, the things that you desire. And we get so easily caught in our mind, in routines and habits that aren't serving us, right? That keep us in that state of smallness, of being in the fear. When we desire to be out of that fear, out of that box, right? Out of that space and move into something bigger and exciting and really just more fulfilling. So I hope this is making sense to you girls. I just made a couple fun reels on, perfectionism, because I feel like that's something that also a lot of women struggle with, is before they can take action is they have this thing that everything has to be perfect before we can start taking action on our desires. And so stay tuned for that. But I wanted to also share real quick before I hop off is I have a live Reiki healing session coming up on next Monday. I believe it's the 16th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're wanting to come, it's for a live group Reiki healing. And in that session, we're going to really focus on the root chakra. So the root chakra is really important, especially when we're experiencing a lot of fear. So when we have this fear, we don't feel safe. We don't feel are able to expand. We feel like a lot of times we spiral into a lot of emotions and things just are out of control, right? So it's really important to find that grounding so that we can move past our fears and let that fear transmute to love and really see what is the truth here, right? What are the beliefs that are holding you back from experiencing that love and support that you're wanting? So we're going to really work on activating and clearing the root chakra on the 16th. And you're also going to have an opportunity to journal. We're going to journal together, and I have some affirmations that I'm going to give you to really shift and clear and activate the root chakra. So it's going to be really, really good. I would love to have you. It's a group Reiki session, live in a private Zoom container. And what else? And then that following Thursday is Embody, and we're going to dive into the wild woman, alchemizing our emotions and moving that energy through our bodies, because this is where we're able to find that freedom and that liberation, and just feel more empowered, right, in ourself and our sovereignty. Because when we allow ourselves to express and move through all the feelings, it empowers us. We get to have all the parts, the sexy parts, the angry parts, the sad parts are all part of the feminine. We get to experience all the range of emotions. So thank you for the hearts. I'm so excited. It's going to be really good, juicy. So make sure you head to my bio. You can send me a DM if you want to sign up. I'll be putting the link today in my stories if you want to check it out and join us. It's $30 for the live Reiki healing session. And then Thursday, it's also $30 for that as well. So it's going to be so good and so juicy. I hope you girls will join me. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you girls later. Bye.